Good morning, students. In the last video, we were learning about the features in the cloning vector. What are the features, what are the characteristics required in a cloning vector? Okay. And we learned something like that there must be origin of replication. There should be the selectable marker to identify the transformant and non-transformant. Likewise, there must be the cloning sites. Now, we will discuss about the cloning sites. Actually, to ligate or to join an alien piece of DNA in a cloning vector, preferably there should be single recognition site for the commonly used restriction enzymes. What I said, that to join an alien piece of DNA, in a cloning vector, preferably there should be a single cloning site or there should be a single recognition site for the commonly used restriction enzymes, because we know that the restriction enzymes are the endonucleases which are used to cut the vector DNA as well as the foreign DNA for ligation, to ligate a foreign DNA into vector DNA. We use the restriction enzymes. So preferably, what I am saying, there should be a single recognition site or restriction site for the commonly used restriction enzymes. Because if there will be more than one recognition site, in that condition, that particular restriction enzyme will cut that vector DNA or foreign DNA at different places. If there is more than one recognition site for that particular restriction enzyme, it will cut at more than one places, means it makes the fragments of that foreign DNA, it makes the fragment of that vector DNA. It will complicate our cloning process because there will be the many fragments, so the process will be difficult. So our process, gene cloning process, will be very difficult in that condition. So preferably there should be a single recognition site or restriction site for the commonly used restriction enzymes. Okay? For example, suppose we are going to talk about the PBR322. This is the commercially used vector, cloning vector, that our scientists now modified the plasmid and developed the PBR322 as a cloning vector for the commercial use, because in biotechnology we require a large number of cloning vectors for the large scale production of industrial product. So that's why nowadays we are using the engineered cloning vector, modified cloning vector. For example, PBR322, P is the plasmid, B is the Bolivar, R is the Rodriguez. This is the name of the two scientists, and they developed this cloning vector that is called the PBR322. And this cloning vector is nowadays commercially used for the cloning of the alien piece of DNA or foreign DNA, because we require the large number of the cloning vector for the production of large scale production of industrial product. So in the PBR322, there are the different restriction site or recognition site for the different restriction enzymes. But you can see that there is the single recognition site for a particular restriction enzyme. So because it is a modified cloning vector, PBR322, it is a modified plasmid. that is developed by the scientists for the commercial use. So there is in this PBR322, this is the cloning vector, there is the different sites. There are the different sites for the different restriction enzyme, but you can see that there is a single recognition site for a particular enzyme. So what I said that preferably in a cloning vector there should be a single recognition site for the particular restriction enzyme, so that that particular restriction enzyme cut that DNA at that recognition site. If there will be the more than one recognition site for that particular restriction enzyme, it will cut the DNA at the different places. It makes the many fragments, and in that condition our cloning or gene cloning process will be very difficult. So cloning sites we were talking, and what we learnt that in the cloning vector there should be the preferably single recognition site for the commonly used restriction enzyme. Now we will talk about now this thing. Suppose this is the PBR322. This one is the PBR322. This is also PBR322. This is also PBR322. Suppose these are the PBR322 cloning vectors. And now suppose this is our alien piece of DNA. This is the alien piece of DNA, and now we are going to ligate this alien piece or foreign DNA into this cloning vectors. Okay. So because for the at the commercial scale we requires the many this cloning vectors, as well as we requires the many alien piece of DNA also, or foreign DNA also, to make the large number of recombinant DNA to transfer into the host for its cloning, for the production of the product. This is the host. Now, so we requires the large number of these cloning vectors, as well as we requires the large number of this alien piece of DNA also, or foreign DNA. So we can increase the number of this alien piece of DNA or foreign DNA by the polymerase chain reaction. We have studied in the last, we studied that what is PCR, polymerase chain reaction. It is a reaction by which we can produce billion copy of the desired piece of DNA within a day. So by this reaction we can produce the large number of this alien piece of DNA. So by PCR we can produce this large number, billions copy of this alien piece of DNA or foreign DNA. And suppose we are now going to ligate this alien piece of DNA into these cloning vectors, that is the PBR322. Okay. There are, we requires the large number of this PBR322 also. For the ligation of this alien piece of DNA into these cloning vectors, there are many cloning vectors. And now, first of all, it requires the restriction enzyme to cut this cloning vector for the ligation of this alien piece of DNA. So suppose we are going to use BAM-H1 restriction enzyme. BAM-H1 is the name of restriction enzyme. Suppose we are going to use this BAM-H1 restriction enzyme to cut these cloning vectors for the ligation of the foreign DNA. Okay. So for BAM-H1, BAM means what? Actually this is, we have already studied the nomenclature of the restriction enzyme. B means this is the bacillus. AM is actually a amylo liquefaciens. And amylo liquefaciens, this is the name of the bacteria. Bacillus amylo liquefaciens, from where these enzymes were isolated. That's why the name is the BAM-H1, BAM, BAM, Bacillus amylo liquefaciens. So suppose we are going to use this BAM-H1 restriction enzyme to cut these cloning vectors So actually, this is the site. This is the particular site for the BAM-H1, and this site present in the tetracycline resistant gene. This is the tetracycline resistant gene. Actually, we already learned that for E. coli, we use the antibiotic resistance genes as the cloning vector. As the cloning vector in E. coli. For E. coli, I am not talking for all the host. For E. coli, normally we use the antibiotic resistance genes as the selectable marker. Why we uses the antibiotic resistance genes? Because in the normal E. coli, normally there is no antibiotic resistance gene found here. Means in the normal E. coli bacteria, there is no resistance against any antibiotic. So in that, due to this, we can use this antibiotic resistance gene as the selectable marker. As the selectable marker. So suppose in this cloning vector, that is the PVR322, this is the commercially developed and the modified, designed cloning vector. Suppose there is the two antibiotic resistance gene. One is the ampicillin resistant gene and another one is the tetracycline resistant gene. We can use for the ligation, we can ligate our foreign DNA either in the region of ampicillin resistant gene or in the region of tetracycline resistant gene. Anywhere we can ligate this alien piece of DNA. This alien piece of DNA or foreign DNA, we can ligate either in the ampicillin resistant gene or in the tetracycline resistant gene. So suppose we are going to ligate our alien piece of DNA or foreign DNA in the tetracycline resistant gene, because we are going to use the BAM-H1 restriction enzyme to cut these cloning vectors. So because BAM-H1 has the recognition site in the tetracycline resistant gene, means this restriction enzyme will cut the DNA at this tetracycline resistant gene. So suppose we are going to ligate the foreign DNA in the tetracycline resistant gene. So what we do? First we add the BAM-H1 restriction enzyme in this medium. There is a large number of cloning vectors. We use this BAM-H1 to cut the cloning vector. BAM-H1 recognize the sequence, a specific sequence recognition site, and cut this cloning vectors at the tetracycline resistant gene. We have large number of alien piece of DNA also. Now we add this alien piece of DNA in this medium. Okay, and also we add the ligase enzyme. Ligase enzyme for the ligation. So there are the large number of these cloning vectors, large number of alien piece of DNA, and now we add it together with the ligase enzyme also, and this ligase enzyme help to ligate this alien piece of DNA into these cloning vectors. So because we have used the BAM-H1 to cut these cloning vectors, so this BAM-H1 will cut these cloning vectors at the tetracycline resistant gene, and this is the site. And now after that the ligation occurs of this foreign DNA into these cloning vectors by the help of ligase enzymes. Okay, but there may be possible that suppose in these two cloning vectors this alien piece of DNA is suppose attached here also. But suppose in this there is no alien piece of DNA is not attached. Means these were called recombinant now DNA. But this one is still non-recombinant. This is non-recombinant. Now, but these are, now we can say that these are the recombinant DNA, because this alien piece of DNA had been joined at this tetracycline resistant gene. This is the site for the BAM-H1. Okay. So there are the many cloning vectors. So some alien piece of DNA attached with these cloning vectors. So there may be some recombinant, may be some non-recombinant also. And now after this recombination, after the ligation of this alien piece of DNA into this cloning vector by the help of this ligase enzyme. Now we transfer this in the culture medium. This is the culture medium of E. coli. Culture medium of E. coli. Now we add this in the culture medium of E. coli. For what? So to introduce this recombinant DNA into the bacteria, into the E. coli. Because for the expression of the alien piece of DNA we requires the host. So these are the host. Okay. Now we transfer this recombinant DNA, recombinant cloning vector into the culture medium. This is the culture medium where there is the growth of E. coli. Now after this addition, suppose this is the recombinant, this one entered into this. Suppose also entered, this one also entered here, but in this suppose entered this one entered, there is no recombination. Suppose in this one entered, there is no recombination, but here there is a recombinant. So suppose some are the recombinant, some are the non-recombinant here. So recombinant suppose entered into some bacteria. In some bacteria entered the non-recombinant also, and as well as we can say that the growth of the bacteria is the continuous, and you know that every 20 minutes this bacteria will multiply. Suppose there is only 20 number of bacteria, it will be within 20 minutes it will be 40, again it will be 80, 160. So we used some this recombinant DNA to introduce into these bacteria, but the number of bacteria is going to increase. It will multiply continuously. It means in some bacteria these recombinants vector, cloning vector will enter, but in some suppose there is no. Here suppose there is no cloning vectors in these bacteria. Means these are called the transformant. And now these are called the non-transformant. In some bacteria, these cloning vectors, whether it is recombinant or it is non-recombinant, entered into some bacteria. So these are called the transformant. But in some bacteria there is no this cloning vector. So it means they are the non-transformant. These are the non-transformant. But for biotechnology, because the number of bacteria is going to increase, and we have the limited number of this cloning vector or recombinant DNA. See, in some bacteria this recombination will occur, it will enter, but the number of bacteria is going to increase. Every 20 minutes it multiply. It means there will be some bacteria will be transformant in which this recombinant DNA present, but in some bacteria are the non-transformant. There is no this cloning vector or there is no the plasmid entered. So how to identify this transformant and the non-transformant? What we do? For in biotechnology, we require only transformant. The growth of the transformant in the industrial, at the industrial scale, we require only transformant, the growth of transformant for the production, large scale production of any industrial product. We do not require this non-transformant in the culture medium in the industry. So what to do? Now we transfer this bacteria into a culture medium that contains ampicillin. Okay? Suppose we transfer this bacteria into the ampicillin containing medium. Why we transfer in the ampicillin containing medium? Why? To transfer in ampicillin containing medium. Actually, when we transfer these bacteria in the ampicillin containing medium, the transformant will grow in this ampicillin, but the non-transformant will die, because in non-transformant there is no resistance against the ampicillin. So due to the ampicillin, it kills the non-transformant, but it allows to grow the transformant. So how to select this transformant and non-transformant. So after this process, now we transfer this bacteria into the medium that contain the ampicillin containing medium. What will occur? The transformants will grow in the ampicillin containing medium because they have the resistance, because we have the ampicillin resistance in, so they have the resistance against the ampicillin. But in the non-transformant, because there is no cloning vector entered in this bacteria, so they are the non-transformant, and normally we know that in this bacteria there is no resistance against the ampicillin, so they will be eliminated. Means we have now only transformant. Means in this ampicillin, after transferring in the ampicillin containing medium, we will have only transformant. Means there will be no non-transformant. There will be no non-transformant. There will be the only transformant. Means the ampicillin resistance gene help to identify transformant from non-transformant. It means we can say that ampicillin acts as the selectable marker. In this process, this ampicillin resistance gene acts as the selectable marker because it helps to differentiate transformant from non-transformant. So in this way, we can select that which one is the transformant and which one is the non-transformant. Now in next video, we'll try to learn about the importance of this gene. So in this video, we learned the importance of ampicillin resistance gene because this gene helped us to differentiate transformant and non-transformant, or to eliminate the non-transformant and selectively permit the growth of transformant. In next video, we will discuss about the use of this tetracycline resistance gene, why this gene is used in this process, in this cloning vector, why the two antibiotic resistance genes are used. So one gene, this ampicillin resistance gene, is actually used to differentiate transformant and non-transformant, and the tetracycline resistance gene is used to differentiate recombinant from non-recombinant. In next video, we will discuss that how it helps to differentiate recombinant from non-recombinant. Thank you.